Welcome back, wrestling WWE fans. Tonight we're peeling back the curtain on Clash in Paris, a night that was supposed to be about Roman Reigns proving his dominance but instead turned into one of the darkest chapters in Bloodline history. The story didn't start in Paris. It started years ago when Roman declared himself head of the table, a leader who demanded respect from his family and the entire WWE locker room. With Paul Heyman at his side, Roman became not just a champion, but a king presiding over a fractured dynasty. But power always comes with pressure. Every win Roman notched was also a burden he carried, because the higher he climbed, the more weight fell on his shoulders to keep the family strong. Behind the scenes, those closest to him whispered about how much it was taking out of him. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. And then there was silent resentment. The Usos, Solo Sikoa, even Heyman, they all lived in Roman's shadow. They all felt the suffocating grip of his reign. Family dinners became strategy sessions. Private conversations became demands. Loyalty stopped being love and became currency. At Clash in Paris, Bronson Reed stood as the latest challenger. A man with raw power, no fear, and something to prove. The build-up was intense, but the match itself was brutal in its simplicity. Reed trying to crush Roman, Roman refusing to break. Every slam, every blow, every spear told the same story, Roman surviving against impossible odds. He dug deeper than ever before, his body screaming, his spirit fighting, his pride unwilling to let the empire fall. And when Roman pinned Reed, it looked like the story was finished. The tribal chief had survived again. He raised his title high, but the victory didn't feel triumphant. It felt hollow, almost sorrowful. That's when the madness began. Out of nowhere, the celebration collapsed into chaos. Reed refused to stay down. Roman barely had time to breathe before the assault began again. And this time, it wasn't just a match, it was a message. Fans in the arena gasped as Reed's attack grew merciless. Roman, clutching his ribs, looked more vulnerable than he ever has in this era. The man who built a dynasty on control had completely lost it. And where was his family? Where was the bloodline? No one came. No Solo, no Usos, no Heyman. For the first time in years, Roman Reigns was utterly, devastatingly alone. Backstage whispers tell a darker story. The absence wasn't an accident. Some say the bloodline members are finished protecting Roman, tired of his grip, tired of sacrificing for his empire while he takes all the glory. Others say Heyman knew this was coming, that Reed had allies in places we don't yet know. His silence during the chaos has only fueled the scandal. Did the wise man finally stop protecting the tribal chief? The grief in Paris wasn't just Roman's. Fans who had lived through years of bloodline dominance suddenly saw it unravel. They saw their hero, their villain, their king, reduced to a man abandoned in his moment of need. And maybe this is where family truly breaks. Roman demanded everything from those closest to him, but when the bill came due, he found himself bankrupt of loyalty. This was betrayal not from one man, but from the silence of many. For Reed, the madness was about making his name. But for Roman, it was about survival, both in the ring and within his own family. The bloodline is fractured beyond repair, and the scars of Paris prove it. Witnesses backstage describe Roman sitting alone after the attack, his title across his lap, blood on his face, his body broken. Not a champion basking in victory, just a man staring into the abyss of everything he's lost. The trust that once defined the bloodline is gone. The respect that once united cousins has evaporated. All that remains is the bitterness of betrayal, the grief of family turned strangers. And yet, through all this madness, the legacy looms. Roman's dominance can never be erased, but what kind of legacy is left when it ends in betrayal, in silence, in abandonment? That is the question Paris left us with. Some say this is the death of the bloodline as we know it. Others believe it's the painful evolution of a dynasty that can only grow stronger through destruction. What's undeniable is that Paris marked the beginning of the end. Roman Reigns defeated Bronson Reed, but victory means nothing when the family you built refuses to stand with you. That is the true tragedy of Clash in Paris. The aftermath will haunt Roman. Every time he looks at that championship, he'll see not just his triumph but his loneliness. Every roar of the crowd will remind him of the silence of his own blood. And as WWE marches forward, we are left with questions that reach beyond titles. What happens when family loyalty dies? What happens when the bonds of blood are severed for good? Clash in Paris was supposed to be another defense, another chapter in Roman's reign. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about power, pressure, resentment, and betrayal. In the end, Roman Reigns may still be champion. But he is no longer the head of a table, he is the king of an empire in ruins. And sometimes, that is a heavier burden than any defeat. So let us remember Paris not as the night Roman conquered Bronson Reed, but as the night madness exposed the cost of betrayal, the fragility of trust, and the truth that blood does not always mean family.